This episode I have been waiting to get to, because I truly believe, well, this is one of the coolest hunts I've ever been a part of.
It definitely was.
Done a lot of weird stuff, man.
It was
A lot of different places, and this hunt right here is atop of the heap.
Yep.
I've been after this buck for 3 years.
That's what it's about. Having fun.
So hopefully you guys had seen, but earlier in the year I had actually killed a great buck on this farm that we call the Buddy Buck out of a cedar blind.
That is the buck we was after.
He's a mainframe 8. He's got a common point over here on his left too that he actually broke off right after he shed his velvet. He's got a flyer coming off the base on his right side.
One thing that I was going to try to do on this particular hunt is a new tactic that my buddy Danny Ferris, has been preaching me and trying to get me to do for the last few years, and that's the lockdown spread. And that's basically where you put a life-size buck decoy out in front of you, and then you put a Ultimate Predator gear decoy on your bow, and it's a doe decoy. And so basically you're the doe and the buck's the buck. And so when a deer sees that from across the field, they see a buck locked down with a doe. And this is on Halloween, so this would be on the very front edge of any deer that would be coming into estrus. But those bucks this time of year are frustrated. Their testosterone is at peak. They are ready to go, and most of the does are not ready yet.
My name's Dallas Barber. I'm the big game biologist for the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation.
My name is William McKinley. I'm the deer program coordinator with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks.
Rut period occurs, based on photo period. And that photo period basically is the ratio of daylight to darkness during the day. When that photo period gets to a certain point, it talks, through the eyes to the brain of the deer, and that doe's pituitary gland starts releasing some chemicals that tell her, hey, it's time for us to breed.
When a doe's coming into estrus, she's receptive to a buck for roughly 24 to 48 hours.
That's the only time that doe can breed for that year. Unless she's not covered, 28 days later, she'll cycle again. But, bucks are always able to breed. As long as they have shed their velvet, they are capable of breeding. So they are constantly seeking and searching for does that are in estrus. Here in Oklahoma, we've got a peak breeding date anywhere from November 8th to November 14th, and that's not anything that changes. It's the same time every single year.
So imagine a bell-shaped curve, and you've got the very first few coming into estrus. Before you reach that peak, it's when you're going to see really heavy buck activity. There's a lot of competition for those few does that have come into estrus already.
Kind of a buzzword in the industry right now is lockdown. Lockdown is that 24 to 48 hour period where bucks are really trying to corner that doe, let her stand and attempt to breed her. And more times than not, they find the woolliest, nastiest place that they can put that doe into, chase her into, to where she doesn't have an option to leave.
Well, I have a decoy, brand new out of the box, right here. And the default, the factory paint looks great. It definitely would do the trick for a whitetail, but I plan on doing some decoy hunts this year, and I want this to look a little bit better than it does. So we're going to touch this up and hopefully have this looking a lot better in the next, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. So that's what we're gonna start doing right now. Give him the mane that he definitely deserves. He's a special buck. He's a happy deer. Very, very happy deer. All we did was just kind of covered up some of the big white that I had under his throat. Made it a little darker, gave it a mane, gave it a darker face, a little more detail as far as different coloration on the face. Super happy with it. I'm excited to get out in the field and put it to the test in the very, very near future. So.
And also on this episode, it actually has kind of multi-layers. One, I'm gonna be doing the lockdown spread, but two is we did a hunt giveaway. You know,
Yes.
We talk about it all the time. We give away hunts. It's something that we love doing, and this is the Oklahoma giveaway. Marcus is gonna be rolling in, and we'll get to share camp with him. We could not be more grateful to these partners. To be consistently successful in the outdoors, you gotta have equipment that you rely on, and they definitely provide that. Again, thank you so much to these companies, and for more information, visit myworldoutdoors.com. So the first thing that we do, you and I get there on the same day, the first thing we're doing is we're really preparing the farm for the hunt giveaway.
Right.
And that's why we're there, is for that giveaway winner. We'll give it a little bit more, but we got some work to do. We got a giveaway winner coming in here in, I think, 3 days. So we want to make sure things are ready to go. Got a couple of stands to hang and a couple spots to make sure that they're in good shape for when he gets here.
It's a large squirrel population out here.
But I'm gonna hunt while I can, and you're gonna film me, which I was grateful for, by the way. But the thing is that the wind was blowing so hard the first 3 days.
Brutal.
Like, I'm from Oklahoma, so the wind's always blowing. Like, a actual 25, 30 mile an hour wind is pretty common. That was a 50 mile, like there were sustained 50 mile an hour winds. It was crazy. It's windy. Like, that's pretty windy.
That's real windy.
We did use that wind to our advantage, traveling the farm, putting corn, running cameras. We did get a slip of hunt in the tree saddle.
The tree saddle.
Yeah, remember we got that set up. That's right there on the front end of the property, catching these deer coming out of a draw, going to the neighbor's crop field. But we did get a nice hunt out of the tree saddle and had some close encounters with some young bucks.
Didn't see the buck we were after, but had some deer in front of us, so that was fun.
That was the last day of the wind, was that day. And what we were gonna do from there on out is that lockdown spread. So looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Well, we're about to do something a little different today than normal. It is October the 30th, which is a universal day of awesomeness for whitetail hunters. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up the decoy, the life-size decoy, the Ross buck that we painted last week, and then have Deborah on my bow, which is the ultimate predator gear decoy. Anyway, we're gonna be sitting up here observing essentially, and if we see a shooter, I think I can call them in. And then they're gonna look over and they're gonna see a buck locked down with the doe. Bing, bang, boom. Next thing you know, I got a buck in my face at 15 yards. It's gonna be nuts. We honestly didn't see any mature deer to actually see the spread. We've seen a couple of younger deer, but all at a distance, and a bunch of does, but never anything that we wanted to truly, get within range. So, well, the broadheads that I am shooting these days are the Ozcut Elite 3-blade. Well, the cool thing about these broadheads is that they're you can resharpen them, which is one of the big reasons why I'm a big fan of them. Plus, they're made out of one piece of metal. They're gonna be extremely tough. And I went with the Elite 3-blade, which means that they're straight blades. I personally like a straight blade. I don't want a helix to my blade. I want my fletchings to do the spinning of my arrow for me. That's my personal preference. I know a lot of people do like a helix on their blades, but I like a straight blade. So hopefully we can get a big whitetail on the ground here soon with them. So I think it's just gonna be a matter of time of just staying out there, frankly, where a good buck would see this set up and then ultimately come in and hopefully get some.
Yep.
I'm very, very confident good things are about to happen here in Western Oklahoma.
This segment's brought to you by Ozcut Broadheads. Tough, field point accurate, and designed to be sharpened and reused. So Halloween morning, this is the day that Marcus, the hunt giveaway winner, is getting into camp. But it's a beautiful, crisp morning. We want to be out in the field. We're trying, again, using that lockdown spread. We set up on the end of this ridge on this little point where we can see on both sides, and there's a lot of thick cover right there.
It's just cracking daylight here. As you can see, we're sitting on a hillside, overlooking the bottom. Got Ross right in front of me, and Deborah on my bow. Really looking to lay eyes on a shooter. Be nice just to lay eyes on something. One, to see, because we've been here for 4 days and haven't seen a shooter yet. And two, I think that if we can get a shooter to see this setup, there's a good chance that they're gonna come in and get a closer look. So, I'm gonna continue getting set up here. I feel good. I got Mr. JC, man, myth and legend behind the camera. I'm gonna get settled in, start the glassing. I'm gonna spot a shooter and then call his buddy in. So I guess maybe they are coming off the big fields, coming this way.
Because I need a deer to see this setup to work, right? So I wanted to reach into that cover where something might hear it, a buck, and it would poke his head out, look for the sound, and sure enough, it sees a lockdown buck with a doe up there, and then comes in. That was my idea.
Right here. Hey, right down low. It's a buck. 120 yards coming right at us. Yeah, turn. It's a good deer.
After looking at the deer, I realized it's a younger 6x6 that we had on camera. I know him really well. Probably a 2-year-old, but like a really stud.
He's a nice one.
He's a stud deer. Like when you see him on the hoof, like, hey, that's a shooter. But then once you realize what deer it is, you're like, that deer's gonna be big.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that young 6x.
As we're looking at him, I hear grass moving to my left, and I look my head over, and at 15 yards is a giant.
Oh, right here, big buck right here, left. Turn right now. Blood everywhere, buddy. That's a freaking stud. That's a freaking stud. You can smell him. You smell him right now? Dude, I don't have that buck on camera.
It is a stud.
Oh, dude. This is my first time doing this right here with the decoy. Oh, I am freaking pumped. Danny Ferris, Ultimate Predator Decoy. This was his tactic. Like this setup right here is because of him. And right after first light, I decided to rattle. It just felt right. There's a lot of thickness around us. I wanted to reach in there with that sound. And so maybe something will peek out. I hit the horns, look to our right. We got a young 6x6, 2-year-old about to come in. And then I hear grass crackling to my left. Look up, just a freaking Mac Daddy blowed up at 15 yards. And I just pumped him. Dude, that is what you want your arrow to look like, boys. I could see when he was running off that he had blood spraying out of him really well. So, let's go find him.
This segment's brought to you by Hoyt Archery. Almost a century of innovation continues today. Get serious. Get Hoyt.
He ain't gonna be far. You smell that? Up, right there. There he is. Oh, he's a stud, dude. Let's look at this sucker. Boys, look at the size of that stud. This is an absolute giant. To say that I am grateful, to say that I am surprised and proud, is an understatement. We are on a piece of property that I was very fortunate to go into with a group of buddies. We actually purchased this land earlier this year, have been running cameras since June, since we closed. And this is a deer that we don't have on camera. I always say that I hate the rut, but this is what the rut can bring, is your neighbor's deer, quite frankly. And it was chaos this morning. We were set up in a tactic that I've never actually tried to implement. My buddy, Danny Ferris, owns Ultimate Predator Decoy. I say buddy, he feels like family, honestly. But he has been telling me to give this a whirl for years. I finally did it. Luckily, I was able to get swung on him, and was lucky that I made a good shot and he didn't run 100 yards. But I'm incredibly grateful for my group of buddies who let me hunt this land this year. Incredibly grateful for JC right there, my partner in My World Outdoors, and he was actually running the camera this morning. And we've been experiencing some fun times this week with some crazy weather in Oklahoma. And super grateful for my wife, Brienne, my two little girls, Addison and Brooke. They put up with Daddy being gone. This year has been a little more than most. I'm just thankful.
We ultimately did have a picture of him that we hadn't checked yet on one of the cameras, but like I did not know this deer. And so when I got up to him, I put my hands on him, the mass around this deer's bases and his first and second measurements in particular, is like phenomenal.
This is great, dude. This is crazy. This, I always say that I hate the rut, but this is the type of things that happen during the rut. Chaos. John actually didn't even get turned around all the way on him, but I knew that I had my second angles running and that it was all gonna be fine. And then an animal of this caliber, let's be real, right? This is a lot more what we do as a lifestyle and in the outdoors is a lot more important than a silly TV show. This is incredible. Big, big deer.
That tactic is going to be part of my tool belt from here on forever during the rut, because think about it, if you're a buck and you're out looking for a doe, that's what you want to see. Like,
Right.
And then also the hunter with the decoy on his bow is moving. That sells the setup.
Right.
He's not coming into a stagnant situation like well, these deer are not moving at all. Like, he's coming in and the doe's moving. That's what it's supposed to be doing. Right. It's gonna be part of what I do from here on out. But the thing about this hunt is it's not over. Marcus still needs to go.
He's just coming in.
Yeah, so what we did with him, he just got in. We were actually late getting to the camp because, we were taking care of my buck.
Yep.
All that prep work that we had done the previous days, there was a particular spot, and I just put a camera out because I thought it would be a good spot. Went and checked the camera, and there was a couple good bucks on it. And we hung a stand on the fly, put him up in there, right? Remember, we went and hung out at the cabin.
At the cabin.
Waited for him to get done with the hunt. You and I were just hanging out, and we get a text message from Marcus saying that he just shot a big 8.
He said, buck down.
That's right.
Yo, bro, I just shot the biggest buck of my life.
I don't know, man. I'm thankful that you guys had this drawing, and I'm even more thankful that I got, lucky to be here.
It's all good, dude. It's hey, I'm happy for you, dude. I cannot tell you how happy I am for you.
And we tracked him last night, good blood. We decided to back out after he crossed the property line. Just started back this morning. 15 yards, there he is, underneath the cedar tree. And I'm so thankful. Thanks BA, thanks JC. They put out a little video to like and share and go on their YouTube page, My World Outdoors, and like that video to get entered. And it's that easy. It's that easy. I entered. I was actually drawn second, and I was fortunate enough the first place guy didn't respond, and I got the job done. So
We came back the next morning, got permission from the neighbor to go over there, and it wasn't 150 yards across the fence. We came up on his buck. So super excited for Marcus. I am incredibly humbled myself to harvest the caliber of animal I did and then the way I did it. I'm super grateful that you were there to experience it with me.
It was fun.
Looking forward to doing it again.
Absolutely. Doing it this year.
You gonna do it?
Heck yeah.
Crazy. Why not?
Why not?